Before testing, the participant should perform a short warm-up of approximately 5 minutes of moderate aerobic activity followed by a few select flexibility exercises. The chair sit and reach test is designed for the older adult population because of their limited functional movements. This protocol measures lower body flexibility one leg at a time. For this assessment, the subject will sit on the edge of a chair with one foot must remain flat on the floor. The other leg is extended toward the knee, straight, heel on the floor, and ankle bent at 90 degrees. You want to place one hand on the top of the other with the tips of the middle fingers even. The subject will then inhale and then exhale as they reach forward towards the toes by bending at the hip. You want to keep the back straight and head up, avoid bouncing or quick movements, and never stretch to the point of pain. You want to keep the knee straight and hold the reach for 2 seconds. The distance is measured between the tip of the fingertips and the toes. If the fingertips touch the toes, then the score is 0. If they do not touch, you want to measure the distance between the fingers and the toes, which is a negative score. If they overlap, measure how much, which is a positive score. You want to perform 2 trials. Next is the Thomas test. The Thomas test assesses flexibility of the hip flexors. These muscles tilt the pelvis anteriorly. Imbalance between these muscles and hip extensors can negatively affect the functioning of the back. The subject will begin by lying supine, which is on the back. The participant then will bring one leg, the contralateral leg, or the leg that is not being tested, in the direction of the chest, just to the point where the lumbar spine is snug to the floor. If the tested leg remains in contact with the floor or table during this maneuver, the hip flexors of the leg are adequately flexible. If the tested leg raises, the hip flexors are likely to be inflexible. Record whether the hip flexors in the right and left legs are flexible or inflexible. Next is the Canadian trunk forward flexion test and the YMCA sit and reach test. Both of these tests is to measure trunk flexion. This will be determined by the ability to stretch the lower back and hamstring muscles. Individual will remove shoes and sit with their knees fully extended and the bottom of the feet against the surface of the flex box. The arms are to be extended forward with one hand placed on top of the other. You want to inhale and exhale, holding your knees straight and reach as far as possible. Hold for 2 seconds. For the YMCA sit and reach test, a yardstick is placed on the floor and tape is placed across it at a right angle to the 15-inch mark. The participant sits with a yardstick between the legs with legs extended at right angles to the tape line on the floor. Heels of the feet should touch the edge of the tape line and be about 10 to 12 inches apart. The participant should then slowly reach forward with both hands as far as possible, holding this position for approximately 2 seconds. Fingertips can be overlapped and should be in contact with the measuring portion or the yardstick. The scores a more distant point reached with the chair sit and reach test will be scored in inches. The Thomas test will be scored as inflexible if there is a space between leg and the floor, and flexible if there's no space. The Canadian trunk forward flexion test is measured in centimeters, and the YMCA sit and reach test is measured in inches. My score for the Canadian sit and reach box was 32, which is fair. The YMCA sit and reach was 17, which is below average, and my Thomas test, left and right, was flexible with no space between my leg and the floor.